Empress Wu ruled China from October 690 to February 705. She is the only woman in the history of China who became the ruler. Even though she was a woman, Queen Wu was very evil and bloodthirsty and killed anyone who stood up to her orders. Torture, execution and forcing prisoners to commit suicide. It was one of the most common crimes that the queen ordered to be executed. She killed all her opponents, including the queen before her, Wang, or ordered them to be exiled. Queen Wu even ordered to kill her nieces and nephews, and she also killed her newborn daughter. She even exiled her family members, including her sons, and even ordered one of them to commit suicide. During her rule over China, this criminal queen poisoned and hanged many people, or killed them and even cut off their noses, ears, hands and feet on his orders. Queen Wu died in December 705 when she was 81 years old. King Leopold I was the king of Belgium who succeeded his father in 1865 and ruled the country until his death. The territory of Leopold's rule was the Free Country of Congo, which he had conquered in Africa. He was able to get a lot of wealth by collecting elephant ivory from this country. After realizing the value of rubber, he forced the villagers to collect rubber sap. They had to give a certain amount of tree sap to the agents every day, otherwise their hands would be cut off. He had launched an army of public fear and terror, which was managed by a large number of evildoers. These groups killed Congola's people every day under various pretexts. According to statistics, between 3 and 5 million Congolas died during the reign of this oppressor. The Belgian government took the ownership of Congo from Leopold in 1908 and placed it under its supervision, but Leopold was never punished for his brutal deeds. Qin Shi Huang was the first emperor of China who ruled China from 221 to 210 BC. He was a king with mental disorders and extremely evil. Qin Shi forced more than 120,000 families in his 11 years of rule, made them leave their homes. He ordered to burn almost all the writings and books that existed in China and burned or beheaded hundreds of Chinese people who were studying. In order to dominate the people as much as possible, Qin Shi imposed taxes, especially on he made more farmers. During his reign, millions of men were employed to build a road more than 500 kilometers long. He was the emperor who created the Great Wall of China and other architectural structures. But instead of hundreds of people on this road, they lost their lives. Cain loved so much that he would never die. Therefore, when the scientists and alchemists of the court could not find a way to do this, he ordered 480 of them to be buried alive. Cain was afraid that he would be attacked by his enemies even after death, so he ordered to build a large tomb. For 700,000 workers were needed to build it. It is said that he killed more than 1 million people during his reign. Qin Shi Huang died in September 210 BC. Nero was one of the most tyrannical and bloodthirsty emperors in history and the nephew of the barbaric Caligula. Kingship and power were very important to Nero, which is why he even killed his own mother and wives. Nero was a very stubborn opponent of Christians, to the extent that he burned the city of Rome. In this fire, the entire city of Rome was destroyed, and hundreds of thousands of innocent people were burned or lost their lives. At this time, Nero went to the top of a hill and started a fire by playing a harp. After the fire was extinguished, Nero built a new palace and every day arrested a number of people on the pretext of starting the fire, and threw them alive in front of the animals, or burned them in the fire. After a while, other people they did not tolerate it, and rebelled against him, which ended with Nero's suicide. Attila was one of the most ruthless kings in the world who ruled the Han people from 434 to his death in 453 and had the largest empire in Europe. Even looking at his tattooed face and strange head put fear in people's hearts. Even after his death, the savage people left the barbarians behind. Attila took most of the European cities. He killed many people, burned their houses and looted their belongings. People who did not want to lose their lives were forced to join his army. During his rule, millions of people lost their lives or became homeless. Attila died in a strange way, and no one understood the real reason, so that no one knows about his burial place. The person who buried him was also killed. The name of Genghis Khan cannot be included in the list of the most ruthless people. Genghis Khan, whose real name was Temujin, was the ruthless founder of the Great Mongol Empire. The Mongol Empire became one of the largest empires after his death. Genghis Khan had a lot of power, and because of his wild temper and great power, he committed terrible murders, and according to some historians, during his conquest of the country, 40 million people lost their lives. More than 1 million of them were Iranians, who were separated from their bodies by Genghis forces.